So one of the things you have to know about Girona is that there's a lot of Catalan spoken, and today we've got Boris from DOS Off Track, who's going to teach us some words, in particular the parts of your bike, and if you need a repair, what to ask for. So Boris, thanks so much for being on the channel.
Yeah, pleasure, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Not only Catalonia, but if you're traveling to Mallorca, which is a big cycling destination, they're going to be speaking Catalan as well there. And we have a lot of parts of Spain that speaks Catalan, and yeah, if you're traveling with a bike.
Yeah, it's just good to know. Let's start at the cockpit, like handlebar.
Handlebar, we would say manillar.
Manillar.
In Spanish is manillar. Again, very
pretty
similar.
close.
Yeah.
Is there a specific word for like brifter or shifter?
People say this is escaladors. So climbers will be the translation. Can be the marcha, will be the shift lever, and then frens is brakes.
Okay, so frens is brakes.
Yes.
Cambia de marcha, is that the marcha is this?
Yeah, so marcha is gear, and it encompasses the sort of the transmission and the gears. It's marchas. Brakes is frens, and so this will be brake lever. We will call it palanca de fre.
Fork.
Fork, as in English, means something you might eat with. In Catalan, is forquilla.
Forquilla.
So this one's also useful if you go to a restaurant.
Okay.
You wanna ask for a fork. Forquilla.
How about first the tire and then the wheel as a whole?
Yeah. So tire is pneumatic.
Pneumatic. So like pneumatic.
Pneumatic, right?
Okay.
So it's a pneumatic tire. Wheel is roda. That includes the entire.
Is it?
assembly.
How do you say tubeless tire?
So that's a modern sort of invention. So we say pneumatic tubeless.
Disc brakes? Is it fren disc?
Exactly. Frens de disc.
Frens de disc.
One thing that in English you do sometimes is flip the order of what we say, or the other way around. So you say disc brake, we say brake of the disc.
So moving back, if you're referring to just the bicycle frame, what would you say?
Frame, we call it cuadro. It's the same word that we would use for a painting, right?
Okay.
You call the frame of the painting, right? So cuadro it includes not the fork. The seat we call sillín, sayen. My girlfriend calls it city, which I've never heard anybody else say, but that's sayent. And then this is the seat tube, so tubo de sayent.
Let's get to the crank. So how about the chain rings? If you have a double, a single, or a triple, like is it platas or?
Yeah, we call it a dish, which you might hear referred to as well in English, and that's plat. So plat would be one of them, plats, plural, platos in Spanish, so that's very similar as well. And then the arm, we call the biela, and then the axle itself is eix. Between the axle and the frame, we have the bottom bracket. We call it pedalier.
Okay.
Pedalier is the actual bearing assembly. And then,
so there's no pedals right
yes,
now, but
exactly.
What would you call it?
I was looking at it, it's missing something. Pedals is pedals. So it's written the same way, you just change the intonation. So from pedals to pedals.
Okay, pedals.
Chain is cadena.
And is there a different, like how would you say front or rear derailleur?
In English, you would say derailleur for both of them because they derail the chain. We actually only use this term for the front, which we call desviador, because desviar means derail in Catalan. So this is the desviador de canvi, which would be the front, and then the rear. We actually just refer to it as canvi.
Canvi like cambiar, so it's like the change? Or?
Yeah, exactly. This is the change. So we call this one the change, and then we call this one the derailleur, because this one derails the changes. But yeah, canvi is a word that we might use just for this guy or for the whole system, so it's a bit different there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this bike has electronic shifting.
Yeah.
Is it Cambi de electrónica? Or?
Yeah, that's right. Cambi electronic. In Spanish, cambio electrónico. The brakes there at the other end, so we have the lever, which is a palanca de fre, And then we go to the other end. We have the brake caliper. We call it pinza de fre. Either if that's disc or not, we would say pinza de disc or pinza de traditional brake system. And then inside of the caliper, we have the brake pads, which always wear out when you're traveling with your bike. And so brake pads are pastillas de disc. If we're talking about the rim brake pads, we would call them zapatas. Subin, we call them zapatas, exactly, brake shoes. That's exactly right.
How about, let's say, like common phrases, things that cyclists may need, like I've got a flat tire, I need an air pump.
Yeah, so we refer to a puncture, we say punchada. A punchada, when you lose some air, and then you might ask for inside of a tire, you might have an inner tube. We would call a chamber, una cámara. So the inner tube is a cámara d'aire. So you might ask for a camera and just put that one on. Or you might actually ask, you might have tubeless, and so you might ask for sealant. Maybe it's dry, maybe you're all run out.
Yeah.
And sealant is saillant. Saillant de tubeless, or liquid, just liquid. So tubeless liquid is liquid tubeless. That's enough for us to understand what you're talking about.
Nice.
And then if you ask for some air, you might be asking for a mancha. Mancha is the object, a pump essentially. But that's only in Catalan, and so if you go outside of Catalonia, a place where they don't speak Catalan, they might not understand a mancha. This is something that Catalan people always do when they go outside. Can you have a mancha? A mancha in other parts of Spain is a stain.
Oh.
And so when you ask for a mancha, that's a bit random.
Yeah.
They actually call it a bomba. Una bomba de aire.
Okay.
And a bomba is a bomb, but it's also a pump, right?
So how would you ask, like, would it be tens mancha, or?
Yeah, you can walk in and say, tens una mancha de peu.
Okay.
That's a floor pump. You can also ask, puc inflar les rodes? Can I inflate my tires? No? Puc inflar-me les rodes?
So this is a moot. It's titanium.
Yeah.
How would you say titanium? Is it just titanium?
Titani.
Titanium?
Titani. Yeah.
Okay, titanium.
Yeah.
How about carbon?
Carbono.
Carbono.
Carbono, carbo, usually carbono.
If you're old school and you've got a steel bike.
Ferro.
Ferro? Okay.
Is steel. A lot of the bikes are so ferro is actually iron, I guess. But we still una bici de ferro. Most people would say una bici de acer, a steel bike. So acer is sort of the different metals. And then you might even have an aluminium bike, una bici de alumini. One of the wear items that I always see people riding past on a journey going down to the south of Spain. Bearings always wear out, and so bearings, we have a couple of names for them. We might call them rudaments, rodamientos in Spanish, rudaments in Catalan. We might call them cojinetes, cojinetes in Spanish. Cojinetes is really fun because the literal translation is tiny pillows. That's what a cojinet is, it's a tiny pillow. Maybe you get a bit of a scratch on your bar tape, and so that would be cinta de manillar. Cinta is tape. Cinta de tubeless tape.
How would you say a supple tire? Would it be swaus?
Yeah, when you refer to a tire, stiffness of the tire, you might say a supple tire. Suau, tova. Tova is soft as well.
So we've got a gravel bike up in the stand. Like relative to road bikes, how popular is gravel here?
We're here in Girona. We're always talking about this Girona bubble because we're living in a bit of a different situation that we might see when we go to the rest of Catalonia, to the rest of Spain, even France probably. In Girona is extremely popular.
Okay.
A lot of people have taken up gravel. We have fantastic gravel roads, and so you look around, you see the people riding around, going to all the shops and look at the bikes that we have, and you think, oh, this is incredibly huge gravel, and it is in Girona.
Yeah.
But also because we have this different cycling culture than maybe the rest of of Spain, and slowly it's getting more and more popular. But you go to any random town or city, and you'll see a lot of road cyclists and you see a lot of mountain bikers. That's always the biggest.
Is there like in the States we have bike co-ops? Is that a thing?
There is one in Salt. Salt
Okay,
is a town attached to Girona. They're neighbor towns, and Salt has one of those co-ops. It's called Comacleta, and they do a lot of courses and stuff like this, and they also do a lot of for community services and they get a bunch of kids. They're always there doing their own bikes and stuff like this.
Right.
And you have a bunch of those in Barcelona. I never remember the name, but I know there's 2 or 3 in Barcelona that do very similar, community workshops that people can use and stuff like this.
So you've been around for 3 years. And And it sounds like you opened you opened and then COVID happened. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun. No, it was crazy. We started 2019, and so we were already open. I was working in another workshop in Barcelona, and so I was traveling to Barcelona and back and sort of setting this up. And through 2019, already this wasn't finished, and people are already leaving bikes here, and I'm doing a couple of bikes. And then that starts growing to the point where, okay, I'll just open, because it's not finished. And even today, I still want to do some things to the place that I haven't gotten around to do. And then I decided March is past the winter, is gonna start getting busy again, and so that's the time. And I decided to open the day that the lockdown started here in Spain, in Girona. So that was a lot of fun. But you take it as it is. Everybody's home, so that's what it is. It is what it is. And then from there, it's been crazy busy, because obviously the first wave was a lot of people dusting off old bikes, because that's the only thing that you can do is ride a bike. And from there it really never stopped. And we're at the point now is walking the shop, and it's incredibly busy.
Do you work mostly with locals or tourists?
More local people than everybody thinks. I think every time I look at my notes and I go through the names, it's like, this is all Catalan names.
That's
and
cool.
people always think I'm here doing tourist bikes all the time. And the truth is, some of them. And I'm always trying to help everybody get through Girona if they're on a trip or get the bike fixed for the next big ride that they're doing on their holiday. But those are always quick fixes to get the bike rolling, to get to the destination. And there's a lot of people riding that live in Girona, and so that's a lot of the bikes that I'm doing. Yeah. Fancy bikes like this one, normal bikes like you might find in any other bike shop.
Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks so much, Boris, for telling us what to call things in Catalan.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
all the information about riding in Girona.
Yeah.
If you guys are visiting, definitely stop by his shop. It's Das Off Track.
Yeah.
I'll put the links and all that stuff in the description below. And if you like this content, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then, as always, keep the supple side down.